Hello, my name is Alex, and my pronouns are he, him, they, them. And I will be answering some questions in two different parts, and I will be doing this individually. So, question number one for part two was: given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want to have a dinner with? Um, so I interpret this question as dead or alive. So I would say Marsha P. Johnson. And if for those of you who don't know who Marsha P. Johnson was, she was a trans queer activist that took initiative in the Stonewall riots in June of 1969. Um, so she fought for queer rights, and she is one of the reasons why queer people today have the rights that they have, and they have the liberation that they have because she was part of the queer liberation. Um, and for me, it's more because I would like to have conversations with her to see how her experiences were during that queer movement, the queer liberation movement, and just I would like to hear her stories and what she went through during her lifetime. I think would really be interesting, and just to give thanks to the queer generation that came before this new generation of queer people. Um, I feel like we don't take into account how much work and how much protesting that they had to do to get to where we are today. So for that, I would really like to thank her and every other queer person that took place in the queer liberation movement. Um, and question number two is: would you like to be famous, and in what way? So this is a yes and no for me. Yes, because I feel like if I were to be famous, I would like to be famous in the way that I have a platform to give to people who don't really have a voice. I would like to use my platform to advocate for people, to advocate for, um, let's say, trans rights, Black lives rights, Black trans lives, queer rights, women's rights, reproductive rights, and stuff like that. And then for the no part, I would say no because I feel like when you're famous, you don't really have that privacy anymore. You can't really do stuff without the public eye being there to see everything you do. And I just feel like it's really restrictive. And for part two, question number three was: before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you're going to say? Um, and to that, I would say no, not particularly. The only time I do see myself rehearsing would be if I'm looking to hear back from an interview, or if I have an over the phone interview. Obviously, I would rehearse what I would say. And other times that I would rehearse would be when I'm calling out of work. I get a lot of anxiety before calling out. I just feel like I'm letting the team down, and they're gonna be down a person the whole day, and I just don't want them to struggle. But yeah, those are the only times that I would really like rehearse a phone call. Um, so we moving on to part three. The question is: do you prefer oral or written style language? Um, I say I like written more because I feel like written I'm able to express myself a little better, whereas in oral style I would like if I'm saying something emotional, if I'm trying to express something emotional, I feel like I would just start bawling. I feel like I'm very emotional in that way, and I don't know, I just like reading and seeing what people come up with and stuff. But I also like oral because in written language you can't really tell the tone unless there's like indications of the tone. Sometimes you might read something and it might come off as mean, but it's really not meant to be taken as something mean or rude. But between the two, I would say I like written more. Um, and then question number two for part three is: do you prefer certain word structures more than others? Why? I would say I like short sentences because you're able to get straight to the point, and in short sentences, um, you're able to use less words but say so much. Cause I mean, there's people that they say so much but they say so little. So I think short sentences is an effective way to say so little but say so much. And I also just like observing people's word choice and to see what they say and stuff. I think it's just really interesting. Um, but yeah, for me, it would have to be short sentences. And then the final question was, after watching the TED Talks, what were your biggest takeaways and how do you see your own language slash community shaping your reality? Um, so, like, one of the TED Talks explained that language is a shared experience and we all have something similar. A lot of languages are really similar. I've heard that Spanish and Tagalog um, are extremely similar in a lot of words, in a lot of ways, and a lot of the words that they use are shared between the different languages. Um, and the biggest takeaway that I got from the TED Talks was that I believe they said that there was over 7,000 or 7,000 different languages in the world, and it's just crazy because I never knew. I never knew that there would be 7,000 different languages. I know there's different dialects and languages and stuff, but 7,000 I would have never thought. I only know two, so it's really interesting to learn that there's 7,000 different languages. But it's really sad to also learn that we lose a language about every week. So one language every week would be like 52 languages in a year, which is a rapid rate, I would say. Um, but yeah, those are the all the questions I had for today, and yeah.